Am I the a-hole for not feeling bad that I upset my dad's wife so much while she was pregnant that he let me move out at 14? For context on the title, it's been 2 years since this stuff happened, but it's been argued about in the last couple of weeks. I thought I had a happy family until I was 11. But then my mom and I found out my dad was cheating with this woman at the church he started to go to. Before that, everyone in our family was non-religious. My parents divorced, and I disliked my dad and that woman for the affair. She knew he was married and everything. It's not that he lied about it, but they were so drawn to each other, and they could connect on a religious level we're used to excuse it. Dad even told me I'd never understand what it's like because he was a man and I was always going to be female. His wife tried to make me like her, and I gave her a hard time because I wanted nothing to do with her. My mom got sick when I was 13 and she died within a few months. I had a lot of anger at my dad and at his wife for that. I even blamed my dad. I still kind of do. Not because she got sick, but because he'd betrayed her and she didn't even have the comfort of him before she died. Plus, my dad tried to use mom being sick as an excuse to get custody of me. It didn't work until mom had died, but I still remember that. From the time mom died, I had wanted to live with my grandpa. Grandpa was willing too, and dad said no. He told me he was my dad and my sole living parent and I needed to be with him. When his wife got pregnant, he said I didn't get to abandon my sibling and that we'd only ever have each other when the adults were all gone. I told him I wasn't going to be there for that kid, and I asked if he really thought I cared about or wanted that kid as my sibling. He told me I'd come around because he knew I loved little kids and babies. His wife was so happy, and she tried to include me. I always rejected her. It upset her. My dad had me in therapy, but I wasn't having any of it. The more she tried, the more cruel and mean I got to her. She had some complications with the pregnancy, and because of that, she had her baby shower early. For a couple of weeks before the shower, she kept trying to get me to take some interest, and one day, she sat me down and got all emotional and said she hated that I was so resistant and that she understood I was hurting, but she was finally pregnant. She'd been married before, and her ex left her because she couldn't get pregnant, and her pregnancy was difficult because of her age. She claimed this, not me. And to think about her health and the safety of her pregnancy. I told her I didn't care about any of that. That I didn't care if she had a safe and healthy pregnancy. I didn't care if she died and never got to enjoy being a mom. I told her I hated her, I wanted nothing to do with her baby, and I wasn't going to pretend this was happy for me. I said she was disgusting and crazy, and I hated seeing her face every day. That I would never want her to be happy. I asked her if she thought about what my mom went through dying so soon after what happened with dad and her. I asked her if she even cared, and I called her evil and twisted for excusing what they did based on religion. She got really upset and distressed, and when my dad came home a couple of hours later, she was still like that, and he took away all my stuff. When I refused to apologize or try to help his wife, he told me I won, and he called Grandpa, and he picked me up that night at 11:30 p.m. Living with Grandpa has been everything I wanted it to be, and I have really nothing to do with my dad or his new little family. Grandpa got me better therapy, with a therapist who didn't fixate on me having a better relationship with those people. Dad comes to see me sometimes, which I could live without, but he thinks it'll help long-term with us. His kid with his wife turned 2 not too long ago, and I didn't go to the party, which led him to expecting an apology that I didn't give. Then he told Grandpa I owed his wife an apology for what I did to her too. He told me the same thing when he spoke to me next, and I told him I didn't feel sorry for what I did, that it got me what it wanted, and I still didn't care about his wife enough to regret it. Ever since, my dad has been giving my grandpa a hard time. Grandpa has legal custody of me now, so I'm not worried about dad getting me back. I hate that grandpa has to deal with dad though, and he does have to because of custody stuff.